Jay's Custom Creations is sponsored by Bits and Bits. Use the code JAYBATES to save 10% off your next router bit or CNC bit purchase at bitsbits.com. All right, time for a curveball. So two things. Second is the curveball, which is why this is in a permanent state of done-ish. But first, let's talk about the actual project itself. This was designed for my daughter's bedroom. Toys on the floor, need a place to go. Problem, solution. So there you go. The SketchUp design video, I had 5 shelves and actually made 5 shelves. The 5th one's right over there. Yeah, you can see that in the background. But when I put it all, set it in place, it just looked like it was a little bit crowded. The space in between the shelves looked a little bit crowded, so I went with 4 shelves instead of 5. I designed it with Southern Yellow Pine in mind because it was going in my daughter's bedroom, and the rest of her furniture in there is Southern Yellow Pine. So there's that. And then as far as the construction, I wanted to play off of one of my favorite projects that I've ever made. It is a basic angled 3-tier half-lap shelf thing, right? It's not like a big home run, amazing project, but it's one of my favorites, mainly because of the joinery. I am a huge fan of proud half-lap joints because if you make things proud instead of flush, there's depth there. You have a little bit more visual interest with the depth. And then all of the exposed edges, you can chamfer all those edges, and that just gives you way, way more lines, more geometry for your mind and your eyes to be drawn towards. And in my opinion, it looks really, really good. Now on that angled 3-tier half-lap shelf, I chamfered every single edge that I could possibly chamfer, and I think it looks great. On this one, I didn't chamfer the end grain to thickness edge. That's the only edge I didn't chamfer on all these, just to kind of change it up a little bit, and I don't think it looks as good. I think it would have looked better if I chamfered every single edge. So lesson learned there. I made this out of regular box store lumber. Some of you may think that there's nothing beautiful to ever be made out of box store lumber, and while you may somewhat be right, you're also somewhat wrong. So if you buy Southern Yellow Pine 2x10s or 2x12s, then those typically have 2 defects that you need to eliminate. And if you do that, you'll be left with some beautiful straight grain material, as you can see here. So if you eliminate the center pith, if the center pith is in the board, don't use it. It's the least stable part of the tree, minus the knots. And it'll do all kinds of craziness. And not only that, but it's not beautiful. The center pith of the tree, eliminate it. Also, the knots, eliminate the knots. And if you do that, you can take inexpensive material and get beautiful material without breaking the bank. So off the shelf, these 2x10s cost me $1.11 per board foot. You figure in, let's just say a 50% waste. So that means for this beautiful straight grain material with no defects, mostly no defects. There's a few that I had to include just because I didn't get enough material. Then you're looking at $2.22 per board foot. That's not bad in my opinion, if you like the look of Southern Yellow Pine. So if you eliminate the center pith and you just work from those edge pieces of the 2x10s, 2x12s, the majority of that's either going to be rift sawn or quarter sawn, which is what I used here. Rift sawn is where you have your grain going on about a 45-degree angle looking at the end grain, and what that results in is 2 adjacent faces that look nearly identical. So these legs, I tried to get the best of the best for the legs, and if you walk around the side to the front, especially on the front too, the best 2 up front, right? You can't tell a difference from front to side or side to front because it's a rift sawn piece and the grain just visually flows perfectly around it. So there's a lot of attention to grain selection when working with these boards, but if you take your time, you're going to be left with a beautiful, beautiful project. Now, like I said, there are a few defects in this material that I selected. And on the bottom side of all of these shelves, I think there is a knot on the bottom side. But that doesn't really poke through, and in my opinion, it looks great. Well, the bottom shelf does have a small little knot that does poke through, but that's just what I had to work with, and I'm okay with that. So the curveball, number 2, the curveball, and the reason why that this will stay in a permanent state of done-ish. It's built, it's structurally sound, but I still have pencil lines that I'm not going to take the time to sand off. There's some smudges here and there. I've got a few little dents that I was going to iron out, but I'm not going to. And that's the reason is because while I did build this for my daughter's bedroom, while it was in clamps last night, we got notification that the seller of some land we're trying to purchase has signed the documents, so we are moving. And we're starting over. No house, no shop. We're going to be building all this. Topic for another video. But I have to sell all the we are selling all the furniture in the house. So it doesn't make sense to put this in the house if we're going to sell it. So instead, I'm going to keep this as a utility shelf that I'll just throw in a shed for storage, which means this is way overbuilt and way too nice looking to be a utilitarian shelf. However, it's structurally sound and it's going to fit that need immediately. So that's the reason why it's done-ish. That's the reason why I'm not sanding off the pencil lines, and that's the reason why I'm definitely not taking the time to put a finish on this. Life happens fast, and sometimes a curveball happens, but you adjust and move on. I mentioned we're moving in another video. You can check that out. I think it's the previous one that I posted on this main channel. It was the possibility of moving. Well, possibility has become reality. So lots of stuff to do, lots of stuff to talk about in the upcoming videos, but that's where I'm going to end this one. I'll have a detailed website article for this video where I kind of explain everything that I was doing rather than doing it in the video. So if you're interested in an explanation of this, check out the website article. Go to my website, jayscustomcreations.com/newsletter, so you don't miss anything that I publish. And that's it. Talk to you in the next one.